Why is everyone so selfish? Is selfishness a good or bad thing if you are obsessed with it? However, you are not alone in this. The main reason why selfishness has caused so much consternation is that people tend to think in the opposite direction. For example, good versus bad, small versus large, and so on. Many psychiatrists have studied selfishness. According to a new study, it is becoming more reasonable to expect benefits from the next bacterium. The person caring for the tea will do something to provide her with all of the benefits. People encourage his self-centered behavior. Almost every human being today is the first to meet their own needs. Before Marie in 2020, I say, the explanation of human selfishness is telling us the events of that selfishness, just as our population chats or worries about life. Walking the streets for thousands of years, they built their performance year after year for the empire. I tried to help those leaders, but a few of their teams could easily feed those workers while walking for miles and dying. Diana. There's a lot more we're forgetting. We always preferred the center of choice, always putting our own ego first. According to 1,600 votes, the philosopher Thomas Hobbes was the most courageous of Dyamanartha's citizens. Who can be called self-centered? A selfish person prioritizes his own needs, is preoccupied with himself, and seeks activities that will satisfy his own desires. We are all selfish in some way, according to this definition. We are all looking for ways to improve ourselves or our lives. This type of selfishness is certainly admirable and desirable. We are both self-centered and altruistic. But we are both selfish and benevolent, because our dualistic mind believes that people are both selfish and benevolent. The truth is that we are all selfish and benevolent, but these two things work in our mentality. Selfishness teaches us to amass wealth for ourselves, while also contributing to the well-being of the country, nation, or group. However, selfishness is a natural human trait. What causes a person to be self-centered? A person who refuses to give any of his wealth to someone in need is considered selfish. Such a person is commonly referred to as selfish or thinking. When we call someone selfish, we mean that he or she does not want to share his or her resources, money, time, knowledge. The main reason they don't share this is that no matter how many selfish people they have, they always believe they don't have enough. This is what we call stinginess in a selfish person. The fear of not having enough motivates people to be selfish in order to keep their wealth. Selfishness and a loss of control. Another reason for a man's selfishness is a fear of losing social power or control. Some people have many needs and goals in life, and they prioritize their wealth, believing that it should never decrease, but always increase. The idea is that if they lose their wealth, they will lose their goal, and they will also lose control of their lives. In this context, wealth refers to social standing, financial strength, and so on. As a result, they choose the wrong path to keep their wealth and power. Because such people have never heard the word empathy since childhood, they have been selfish their entire lives. Even in trivial matters, their selfishness is extreme. Dealing with a selfish individual. A selfish person is always insecure. The most important thing to do when dealing with a selfish person is to figure out why they are selfish and work on that issue. All other approaches or efforts to deal with a selfish person are futile. The selfish person will accept your work or demand only if he realizes that it will not reduce his interest or wealth. So you must investigate. 1. Explain why he or they are selfish. 2. He is uncertain about what. 3. Is the claim you're making to him implausible? 4. Is he capable of meeting your expectations? If you see that person is truly selfish, you must show him and explain that he will not lose anything if you meet your demand. A selfish person seeks only his own gain in life. Unless you can explain his gain to him, he will refuse to accept your demand for his own instinctive insecurity. Characteristics of selfish people. Beware of selfish people. They are obstinate and always think about what they want. They make your life miserable in order to achieve their goals, and they are always on the lookout for your flaws so that they can exploit you to complete their tasks. It is critical to recognize such people in order to avoid them. They will not keep their promises. A selfish person will never keep a promise. Instead, they will make false promises to get something from you. In fact, keeping promises to them is a fiery test in which they can deceive you at any time. They will not be available when you require them. They will circle you when they need you or your assistance until you decide to assist them. However, when they require your assistance, they will vanish, giving you reasons not to come to your aid. They will withdraw. A selfish person's main characteristic is that they change their appearance and character to benefit themselves. What they say and do in the end are diametrically opposed and contradictory. They will be there for your benefit. Selfish people do not want to be emotionally bound, and they only form relationships when they see their own advantages and benefits in the relationship. What they seek in people is what they can gain from them. They only then proceed to that relationship. They have a lot of envy. Selfish people are envious of those who outperform them. They become envious and harm that person. Selfish people are inferior to them, and they enjoy seeing people from all social and economic backgrounds. And proudly declaring his success. There is a lot to talk about his success. They like to teach others, condemn others, and wish others misfortune. They are overjoyed. Selfish people enjoy being proud of themselves. They want all of society's attention to be on them. They do things to attract others' attention, which is not the identity of a beautiful person. Selfishness can be classified as either good or bad. We are all more or less selfish, but it is never desirable to take our selfishness to the point where we lose our humanity. So, whatever you do in life, don't hurt anyone. Thank you.